minutes ago.
You got to be like, bro, you can't be in those situations, right? Like we need the running game to hit, right? We got to get the second and manageable, third and manageable. If we're in those situations, the playbook is much more wide open. If it's third and long, they probably got 3-4 plays that they can go to, and that's just how it is. So I'm not dumping it all on him.
So Ed, that's why I try to tell these guys all the time that I don't like Scott Turner's play calling, because I feel like he doesn't allow Taylor to play within the confines of what they want game plan wise. He puts him in these bad situations with not mixing up the play calls and let him be more of a game manager. It's like 1 minute he's running the ball, the next minute he just wants to throw it all over the field. It's like it's no real structure to the play call. So from the games that you watch, how do you feel about Scott Turner as a play caller, and where would you like to see him be more creative at?
From what I've seen, I feel like with this team and with a lot of teams, and I'm a receiver. The running game is going to set up a lot of stuff. If you're able to run the ball consistently, I'm not saying you got to be Derrick Henry, but being able to run the ball and actually gain some yards with it, that allows you to get so much more creativity in your offense. And I don't got to do a whole bunch of shifts and motions, but if I'm going and I run a play and I get 3-4 yards on the first down, 2nd and 6, now that the other team is like, okay, are they going to run it again? Because if they do, it's going to be 3rd and short, or they're going to throw it. You got to get safeties involved. That makes it a whole lot easier to throw it. You get Terry McLaurin on one-on-one coverage rather than 2 or 3 or triple or quadruple coverage. And everything has to work together, right? It's unfortunate. It ends up being one of those things that this is a team that everything needs to go right for them to be the most successful. I mean, I'm not saying you got to have the most lucky bounces, but it's just like, hey, on first down, we got to make sure we gain 3-4 yards. 2nd down, we got to be able to gain 3-4 yards. Put ourselves in 3rd and short. I would love to be in 3rd and 1 and 2 all the time. Then that gives us a chance to say, okay, we're going to play action, try to bomb over the top, or we're going to run the ball, be successful there. Everything it's just one of it's so frustrating because you're like, man, I want to just make it all on Turner. It's like, has he been the best play caller? No, probably not. Does he have his hands tied a little bit? Yeah. He doesn't have the quarterback he wanted to start with on the season. He's been short. Then hadn't really had a second receiver the whole year. The tight end's been in and out of position.
Yep. I mean, there you go, AJ. Don't be so hard on Scott.
He don't want to hear it. He don't want to hear it. He's not trying to hear it.
You got to coach up who's available, man. Like, I feel like sometimes.
What's going on, y'all? This is Jamal, and this is just your reminder that you can catch each and every live stream episode of the Trap or Die podcast Tuesday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern live on my Twitch channel. The link is in the description. And if you miss any episodes, you can catch the video on demand on my Twitch channel that takes you to each and every episode that you may have missed. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe to my YouTube channel where we post clips of the show, clips of interviews, interesting conversations, game analysis, film breakdowns, but also where we live stream our instant game analysis from each and every Washington football game immediately after the game is over. With that being said, I'm out of here. Y'all be safe, and I'll catch you next time.
Some of these coaches, we make a lot of excuses for them, but there's other coaches that make do with what they have, whether it be the Bill Belichick's and Mike Tomlins and so on.
AJ, has the Bill Belichick's and Mike Tomlins won with a one-legged Alex Smith, a guy off the street, Taylor Heinicke, who you don't like, and I mean, Dwayne Haskins, who wasn't mature, he wasn't ready for the position. Has those guys that you mentioned won with those type of QBs?
But that's the blame on the head coaches and the personnel department, because they selected those guys. They decided to go with them.
Man, I'm gonna say this.
I'm gonna say one thing before we get started. I mean, before we continue, we got another guy checking in. JP Finlay checking in with the Trap or Die podcast. As always, most of you all know JP covers the Washington football team for NBC Sports Washington and is the host of the Washington Football Talk podcast. JP, as always, I appreciate you checking in. You're in a suit. You're not geared up, ready to play, and that's unfortunate.
Look at the background. Look at JP background.
We all look. Forget that. We all got signed for a 1-game contract. You need to be signed too. We need you Sunday. We're all playing.
For football or whatever video.
Yes, for football. We're all playing. Get your gear.
I'll say this: 7:22 p.m. Thursday night. I think there's good news coming. I don't think this is going to be nearly as dire as we've been led to believe. I think if you like Washington this weekend, get your bets in now when that number's at 9.5, because I think it'll come back down.
Hey, look, I'm a betting man. Me and Dre, don't look. Yep. Don't tease me with a good bet. Don't tease me with
Anthony,
a good
what's
bet.
up, dude?
JP, what's up, man? You over here overdressed for the occasion.
Dude, I gotta work. I'm not even close to done for the night.
You don't even have a drink, JP. I'm jealous for you that you don't even have a drink, man.
Hey, look, I remember the last conversation. I'm almost done with mine. You know what I'm saying?
Tequila and cranberry. Working, I think. I don't have many rules. My one rule is that I don't drink before a show. So
that's fair.
Check with me about 9:45. I bet on.
So we were in the middle of the quarterback conversation. Now I know AJ, you made your points, and JP, I want you to get in on this. But Anthony, you was about to have a rebuttal towards AJ regarding the quarterback conversation. I do want to finish this conversation and get back to Taylor and obviously the Scott Turner dynamic and who's the percentage blame and things like that or whatever it is that's going on. So go ahead, Anthony, and JP, you can chip in when you want.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like. Everybody, there's some blame to be cast all over the place for sure. I mean, the quarterback got to play a little bit better, but I'm also not expecting him to go out there and just give him the key to the offense and then just go make things happen. I will tell you this though, when it was against the Raiders game, when he got the ball with like a minute 40 something, whatever it was left, I had the utmost confidence that he was going to get the ball down the field because of the way that the team had been playing. Right? You can tell the flow of the game. Like if everything seems to be working just enough. Right. And it's like, okay, I got confidence in this. Now you get into a situation where Washington's not a team that's going to be down 20, 21 points and can come back and win. They almost did, but they're not built like that. Not built like that. So if you get, I would say we got to give them at least a 75% roster, something, right? As many people as went down that last game, it's not fair. It's not fair to Taylor. It's not fair to Scott. Do they got to do better? Yeah, but the players on the field got to execute better. Like I said, everybody has to do their job the right way and execute evenly for this team to be the most successful. That's how I feel.
JP, where do you see this Heinicke situation playing out? And is there, I guess, based on our conversation as it stands in this podcast, is it a lot or too much criticism going at the feet of either Heinicke or Scott Turner, or is there a healthy balance of there's just some mishaps on both sides, both players and both the coach?
I mean, I kind of think Anthony nailed it there. Or are you thrilled with this situation? No, but I think all parties are really doing pretty well considering the situation. I think the Dallas game, if I had to find one offensive culprit, it'd be the O-line right away. I think the O-line got outplayed that whole game. And when they had been playing so well during the 4-game win streak, the O-line's going downhill. Taylor looked rough to begin that thing. And then I think he injured the elbow early on. And I think his arm just wasn't there. And I have some concerns about that for Philly because it's his throwing elbow. And he's saying it's still – if you listen to him talking, it's almost like he's trying to convince himself that he feels okay. And one of the downsides, I think, with a guy that has like his track towards it, how he got to be a starter in the NFL is that he is never going to give an inch. Where if this was a first-round rookie or even like a second or third-round rookie and they were hurt, they'd be like, yo, coach, I'm hurt. Heinicke's never going to do that.
Because he might not come back. He might not get his other chance.
And he recognizes that and is never going to take himself out of a game, ever. So
and that's what a lot of guys in the NFL that don't have those top contracts.
Totally.
They try to rush themselves back from concussions, all type of shit.
Right.
Hello.
Bro, my whole career, I treated it like I was number 55. Like, I was like, dog, if I drop a pass, I'm gone. Like,
right. That's just real life.
You got to play it that way. That's how you got to play.
But rarely, Anthony, do quarterbacks play it that way. So it's a little bit of a different scenario with him. And frankly, I mean, I said this on air. Like, I think they should have gone to Kyle Allen at halftime because I think it was pretty obvious. Taylor
yes.
Now, then Taylor makes a hell of a play to Cam Sims, and you could say the arm was fine. You can say whatever you want. But I think Taylor this season has secured his job enough that you could have gone to Kyle for the second half of that job, and it's not an indictment on Taylor starting the following week against Philly. Now with Kyle Allen on the COVID list, you better light some candles, knock on wood, whatever you need to do that Heinicke is ready to rock in Philly. I think where I am with Taylor is he has done enough and proven enough. Anthony, you brought up the Raiders game. Don't forget that Falcons game. He brought him back in that Falcons game, and even some in the Giants game. He's done enough. He has absolutely proven he belongs in the league. He's proven he can start games for you and help you win. He has not proven that you're not trying to continue to improve. If you can get a clear-cut number one, I think you still do it. If they fall in love with a rookie, I think you can still do that in the draft. But I'm out on let's bring in Mitch Trubisky to compete. I'm out on, hey, let's try to go get Marcus Mariota. Like,
so here's one thing though.
With this young man.
So here's one thing, and I actually had this in the queue. AJ had brought up a good point, and I want you to elaborate, AJ. AJ brought up a good point last show we had on Tuesday, and he mentioned, given the Trubiskys out there and those type of caliber quarterbacks, he said that it'll be hard to keep him on the roster from a fan base standpoint. And I'm saying him as in Taylor Heinicke. And I want you to elaborate to Anthony and to JP what you told Dre and myself on Tuesday about why you felt this wasn't an ideal situation to keep Heinicke if you were to move in a certain direction at the quarterback position this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like JP, you know better than anybody covering the scene, being on the beat, how this fan base moves. And what I was emphasizing on was the fact that if you keep Taylor Heinicke next year and you go and pursue a veteran quarterback or even draft somebody in the early first or second rounds next year, how can you really go forward with keeping Taylor Heinicke on this roster without the fan base still clamoring for this guy, perhaps depending on who you acquire? Now, if you go and get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, you know, you'd be insane and asinine to mention, hey, let's try to start Taylor Heinicke. But if you bring in another veteran guy, let's say, what if Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back, or Tyrod Taylor, the Trubisky's, or you go and draft a guy like Matt Corral or Sam Howell, how can you then continue to keep Taylor Heinicke on this roster and this fan base not still clamor for this guy? Because even though we see the way that he plays, there's still a lot of people that believe that he has starter potential and should be a leader of a franchise going forward.
So
whole hard in the trenches, ask a nigga what he benching, triple digits, nigga, don't forget to mention. Whole hard in the trenches, ask a nigga.